am Alistair from Twisted Bar Gaming, and welcome to episode 11 of the 8-Bit Debaters. I am joined today by the beautiful Rob.
Hello.
Lovely Paddy.
Hi.
And the confused John. In this episode of the Debaters, whatever it's called, I'm currently being blackmailed. This is essentially what's happening. In this episode of 8-Bit Debaters, we are going to be fighting amongst ourselves about what is the best video game you can beat in less than 5 hours. So one of the short forms that you may not have heard of and could be quite a nice little hidden gem. But first, we're going to get to know each and every one of the bards a little bit better with what we like to call the icebreaker.
The icebreaker.
So for the icebreaker, we are going to ask the question for what is your favourite mission, quest, or level in a game. So it's quite an open one, so I'm going to go with Paddy because he seems ready. Hello, Paddy.
I forgot to think about this one. Hi, Alistair. I'm going to go for... only because I watched a video about it recently, I'm going to go for the train mission in Uncharted 2. So basically you're on a moving train and you're fighting on the moving train and then there's a big crash and climbing up. Like, that's actually where the game starts, as you're climbing up it. But it's actually really cool. I was watching a video about how, like, what the camera does and where the train goes, actually on this massive loop thing. But it was just really cool, like, on a PS3 game to have that kind of massive action set piece where you're on a moving train and then it, like, blows up and things are flying all over the place. And it's just a great, really nice mission. Really good fun. Très excitant.
Lovely. And next we'll go over to John. Hello, John.
Hello, guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
I've gone with Medal of Honor, Allied Assault, the D-Day landing.
Yeah, that's
Classic.
awesome.
I think that was one of the first ones that actually kind of really done the... Well, for me it was, I'll probably be told otherwise, cinematic FPS. Because at the time you had very much had like Counter-Strike, Quake, Half-Life, you know, it was all... They didn't
Arena-based sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, that's it. And whereas this was like, you know, you started and you were in the amphibious landing craft, can't remember what they're called, and you know the mortars going, the machine gun, and you were there. And it was, granted, you look back at it now and you think, fucking hell, those are some bad graphics, but at the time it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it still holds up as iconic, and I mean, like, I think there are 3 examples of it in Saving Private Ryan, the new
Yes.
Call of Duty World War II, and then Medal of Honor. So it's like those 3 live in everyone's mind. So yeah, it's an absolute
Actually,
classic.
that's it. I'm not sure on time, or whether that came before Saving Private Ryan or Private Ryan came. You know which one came first?
I don't actually know. Could be
We
either.
shall find out. At some
We've
point.
got our teams on it. Rob, let's go over to you. How are you, my friend?
I am very, very, very peachy. My little scroopin' floopin'.
Scoop and flooping.
I'm stupid flippin'.
So what is your favourite level, quest, or mission?
I'm gonna have to go with. I don't know if it's because I've played it recently or it blew my fucking socks off. But it was the hospital escape scene in A Way Out. I don't think any of you guys have actually played through far enough to that scene yet. But it's basically obviously I'll try and avoid any. There's no sort of spoilers or anything here. no spoilers or anything here, but it's basically a sequence that's all like done as a one-shot sequence that switches between you and the other person, and just the way it's done and how fluid and how bloody cool it is. And yeah, I can't wait to play through that whole sequence again because it was just it made the whole gaming experience from a 9.5 to like a clear a 10. It was just brilliant.
Sounds like a great multiplayer game. Mine. That's a throwback to a couple of weeks. Mine would have to be. I honestly don't know if I remember this correctly, but I just it's in my mind. And I love it, and it was Prototype.
That was sick game.
Yeah, I think in the opening you had just ridiculous powers.
The powers.
Yeah, and you were just like smashing and destroying, and you're like, I want these. And throughout the entire game, you're like, when do I get it? When do I get this power? And it threw you into it. You didn't really have much of the story, but you were just like, I am now an ultimate mutant thing. Look what I can do to people.
I can devour people. Yes.
Here's a tank. Tank is gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an absolute great just to throw you into the game, show you what's to come up, and you were like, I now need to play this.
Speaking of Prototype, that's a series alongside. I don't know if any of you remember Mercenaries as well, but
That was awesome.
Mercenaries, that and Prototype are two ones that I reckon they should get another go at it, because they were great on the concept and had real fun ideas.
Did you introduce me to Mercenaries? I think it was, wasn't it?
I think it was the other way around. Actually.
Oh, was it the other way? I can't remember.
You introduced me to it, eh?
Yeah, because there was a second one as well that was phenomenal. It's just such a mindless, destructive game. It's good.
Yeah.
And they say video games don't make friends.
Medal of Honor 2002, Saving Private Ryan 1998.
Oh, there you go. Private Ryan was first.
Yeah. But I mean, it's all realistic, so apparently. They said Saving Private Ryan was pretty realistic, so they just stick to history.
The war came first. Carry on. Carry on.
The game came before the war. The war copied it anyway. So that was the icebreaker. You got to know a little bit more about us, and hopefully you agreed with some of us, and maybe put in the comments what your own favorite mission level or whatever was, because there are just thousands and millions out there, and we wouldn't have covered anywhere near the amount we want to. So next, we're going to move on to our lovely segment that we lovingly called Mass Debate, because we're adults.
The Mass Debate.
This is a section where we pit three bards against each other to fight out their favourite game, whatever game they can think of, or just they panic and pick something. They've never played it. It's not their fault. They tried. Let's all give them credit. So this week we have gone for the best game that you can complete in under 5 hours. So I'm quite interested to see what everyone's going to come up with. So I'm going to go for the pitch round first. So we're going to give them a little bit of time to give us a little bit of a summary and a taste of what's to come. So, Rob, what is your game?
I have chosen Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. A really, really cool sort of a bite-sized version of the Far Cry games. But for me, it's the coolest setting that the Far Cry series have done. It was like this like 80s retro theme. Everything was very nostalgic. The game itself was very self-aware in the sense of there was a lot of meta jokes about video games. So it was one of the very few games that I've ever seen take the piss out of itself whilst taking you through the tutorial. It had a pop-up boxes telling you how frustrating pop-up boxes were and things such as that. So it had loads of really, really cool, and it just had that really nice tight gameplay formula that you got from Far Cry 3, but in a much more better setting with a much more fun story, and it was just spot on.
A lovely pitch, and I remember the game from one of the One Life reviews we did on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seemed like it had some great humour to it, so it'd be interesting to fight that one. We'll go next to John. What is your game, please?
I've gone for Battlefield 1, the single-player campaign. It was really short. I'm pretty sure you can finish it under 5 hours. I'm certain, actually. But from start to finish, it was pretty epic. The cinematics, the graphics, it was a full-on kind of. I'm trying to use the right word because I don't think they tried to. They went along the lines of not glorifying it, but it's a fitting tribute to what happened and the kind of sheer brutality of what happened in World War One, and they captured the sheer chaos of it really, really well. Really captivated you and took you along the kind of the whole storyline and the various people involved in it.
It was definitely one of those where I was shocked almost whilst playing it, but like not in the this is terrible, but just in the this is amazing. Like I'm actually almost sensing that like I'm in some sort of battle here, and like I'm scared for what's coming around the corner. It's definitely as you say, a fitting tribute. And now, Paddy, round us off, please.
Yeah, so I've gone for a game that's completely different to the other two. I've gone for a game called Gone Home, which is the only game I've ever played on my Mac. Because I didn't have any other way to play it. So yeah, very different. So this is basically just you arrive home. This person arrives home, and you explore what's happened in the house. What's happened to her little sister, I think. and it's all done by wandering around, picking up notes, audio diaries, and it's really for quite a while I thought it was like a horror game or something because it's really tense, and you don't really know what's going on, and it doesn't really. I'm not going to like say the ending or anything, but just it was a really really clever story with lots of like clever moments and kind of not just a walking simulator, not just walking around listening to puzzles, like listening to stories, but there are also little puzzles to solve and the hidden areas and just as a game that you literally just sit down and it takes you like 2 hours. You can do it in one sitting. Just really really clever, really well written, and just a really great little story. Just basically just a really great little experience.
Well, look at Paddy going for the lesser known game. That's a real change. So just before we get to the fight bit, I'm going to introduce you to a little noise that I'm going to play when I get fed up with hearing you guys bicker about everything, and I want you to be friends.
You're an emotional fucking cripple. Your soul is dog shit. Every single fucking thing about you is ugly.
So I'll give just non-existent bonus point to whoever can guess what that was from.
Do you want to play it again?
Got no idea. Play it again.
You're an emotional fucking cripple. Your soul is dog shit. Every single fucking thing about you is ugly.
Is that Dogma?
It is not.
I can't even recognize like who's saying it.
It's from Bad Santa.
Bad Santa, that classic.
That classic. Yeah.
That is a great film,
actually. so no one gets the bonus point. That means absolutely nothing.
Okay, cool.
So now we'll move on to the fight. So I'll just let you three have a go and kill each other or do whatever. Verbally joust. There we go.
Gone Home, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we've Gone Home. As much as I, as the next person, really appreciate a good walking simulator, I'm sorry, there's nothing fun about walking around watching a story that isn't happening when you're there. It's like, oh, this thing happened some time ago, and oh, it was really cool if you were there, but you're not. You're playing this game instead. You know what I mean? It's a bit like, oh, why can't I play the game that the stories are telling me, not the story that I've been told? Like, if that makes sense. Or am I talking rubbish?
Well, obviously, I have to say you're talking rubbish. So, what is your problem like that? You're kind of just watching a story unfold.
Yeah, you watch it like you don't like. From what I understand, and I have to admit, I haven't played it one myself, but you walk around and you see things about things that have happened, and it unravels the story to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not one you can't.
And
like,
it's the one that you got to free your family members or something, isn't it? Or something, or is it?
No. It's basically you just come home from uni and there's no one there.
Yeah,
and you're figuring out where everybody's gone, basically what's happened. And yeah, it's not one of the ones where there's any agency in terms of the story, so you can't
influence it. You just
you can't influence it. You could you could play it again, I guess, if you wanted to, but the story is going to be exactly the same. Like it's really, I mean, it's basically just a really really well told experience. Like it's and the story you discover is it's really good. And I think what its greatest success is that you don't really know what kind of game you're playing. For a long part of it, like you think it's kind of this like almost like a psychological maybe horror game, like something really fucked up's happened here, like something
it's
really
kind of like
weird.
how I feel about Everyone's Gone to the Rapture.
Yeah,
like,
see, I played that one as well, but I'd say this one, like I agree with you completely in that one. Like that was, I think, just maybe too big a space for that kind of game. Like it took too long to get through to the end of this one, whereas this one literally you can do it in like an hour and a half. Like you can complete the game in like 3 minutes if you know exactly where to go. But like I totally agree with you for Everybody Gone to the Rapture. But this one I think because of it's just like small and I don't know, it doesn't suffer from that. I think if it went any longer it probably would.
I think it's fair to say that it probably weaves a really good story and a really good a tale, but when it comes down to calling it like the best a game, I'd certainly say you've got a thing for the best story or the best way a story has been told or in that sort of form. But when it comes to the best game, you've barely got a game with yours. You've got a few, like as you say, a few puzzles and reading a few stories and following it along again. Like you can play a Sonic 2 in an hour and a half and you'll get a lot more gameplay for what you're doing. I'm not saying that obviously every game has to be pure gameplay and no story.
Sounds like
it's
that's
not
what
it's more of a really good a balance where you get enough of like interactivity and enough gameplay to make it exciting or fun and all that kind of stuff. And it is. I don't
Honestly,
argue
it depends.
that
It
you're,
honestly depends how fun you think it is to open drawers.
yeah, that's
If
true.
you like opening
And
drawers, then oof, it's the game for you.
if you're an emotive person that's really into it, then you can be really into that sort of thing. But I think most people, when you just say the term walking simulator, most people just like that. It's one of those things where it's got a bit of a dirty name, and that's just purely by the fact that they're really nice little experiences, but I find it really hard to agree that it would be the best video game when drawn up to these three, where at least the other two games are full-featured games that can be sort of done in a short period of time.
Yeah, but isn't that like the problem then with Far Cry Blood Dragon, is that here's this awesome, like, Far Cry is amazing, and here's this huge, like, you can play Far Cry 4 for like hours and hours and hours. Here's this fantastic, like, long story and all this kind of like a really great world, and then you've got this little short. Oh, that was fun. And like, doesn't that?
But
like,
isn't
don't
that
you
the
want? Don't you want
purpose
more?
of
Don't you
the
want
short
more and
game?
more of that?
But isn't that the purpose of a short game? You know, a cheap experience. I think from what you pay Far Cry for that, I think it's like £10 or £15 when it was out, and it's not a full-fledged experience. It's a bite-sized version of the Far Cry experience, and I think that there's a place in the market for those sorts of games. Like you've seen it with A Way Out, that sort of a AA a game where, you know, they don't have to spend millions and millions and millions on building the game. They can just try and put their core focus into making something that's bold and risky. And that certainly, you can say that about taking the Far Cry formula and go and throwing it all out the window and go, let's make it a retro theme, let's make it 80s action film. It feels very much like what's that film called? That 30-minute film. It feels very much like it feels very much like the Kung Fury of video games. It's low budget, it's smaller, it's well condensed. It can be enjoyed in a bite-size chunk, but you still get that core a Far Cry experience. You still get a little open world area that you can explore and do all the outposts. You still get all that, but you get that in a cheaper, smaller package. And I don't think I don't think it's a weakness that you can also enjoy that on a larger scale.
Can I just throw in some comments I got off Metacritic about Gone Home?
Oh, please do.
Yes. So, quote, hipster shit, unquote.
I agree.
Quote, if this is a game, I'm Michael Jackson, unquote.
Yeah.
And the favourite which you done was the walking simulator. That cropped up quite a lot.
Yeah, walking simulator.
I mean, you know, it depends. It depends if you want to shit on a game for being slightly different to every other game that you've played. Because, like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't see, because a game doesn't let you shoot something or like have a jump button, like, does it make it any less of a, you know, it's still an interactive experience. Like, that story wouldn't happen. That story wouldn't happen if you sat there and didn't touch anything.
No, I agree. I see your point. Like, I would never say that Gone Home is not a video game. It is. It's pure. It's by its pure definition. That's what it is. And I'm really pleased that those sort of experiences are there. Like, you look at the Telltale games, they have a place. So, you know, all those sort of easy to play, chilled out sort of games, they have a place. But when you're having a conversation about what is the best video a game of a certain area or a certain thing, to put forward a game where you don't play much just seems redundant.
Yeah, but then it is I don't know. Then, I mean, Far Cry is literally just the same thing over and over again, isn't it? And if you don't have that huge world to kind of like really get involved in, like, it's just literally.
No, but at least in Far Cry, and then also in John's as well, you've got missions, you've got things you can go and do. You can either choose to go and do this or go and do that. You've got a variety. You've got loadouts. You've got loot. You've got all those things that makes a game feel like a game. I don't mean that every single game needs to have loot in it, and every game needs to be open world, and every game needs to be this to be able to be called the best. But you know, just to strive to make a complete package rather than going, oh, I've got a really cool idea for a story. Let's be honest, if we take all three of the games and say which one can we improve at the most, I reckon out of all of them you could probably improve a Gone Home the most. You can take that idea
by adding machine guns.
By adding machine guns.
By adding radioactive lizards.
Mine's got laser dragons.
Video game.
If you added laser dragons to your thing, it would be a much better game.
I can't really argue with that, actually.
No,
John, have you heard of a website called How Long to Beat?
How long to beat? No.
Yeah, I also checked this as well, Paddy. I was reading 6 hours for beating the campaign of a Battlefield
According
1.
to this website called
However,
How Long to Beat.
As much as I like to be an arguer,
I'm a really quick clicker.
I like to be an arguer, and I'd like to dethrone John on this point. I will concede that just because that
website says it doesn't mean anything.
Just because on average people finish it in a 6 hour doesn't mean that it can't be done inside a 5. So I think it's fine. I think as much, and to be fair, it's a really hard one to dethrone, because you can't sit there and go, well, World War One isn't worth covering, because obviously it's one that's not really got its fair a shake over the past few years. I mean, most of the sort of really old war games, they're always World War Two. They're always done that, and it was one of the very first ones to go into that. What I will say about my own experience of Battlefield 1, as much as they made a very good single player campaign for what is an online a multiplayer shooter, I'd probably say it's probably not even the best bit of the game. I didn't manage to get through all of the campaign before I started hitting up the multiplayer and going on to operations, and as soon as I hit that, I found it hard to go back to it, just like you do on all the Call of Duty campaigns. I will agree with you that out of all the first player campaigns that I've played on, Battlefield 1 has to be up there right at the top, because it is done very, very well for a first person sort of online multiplayer game, and the whole point of like most single player campaigns in this is kind of to get you used and get you up to a certain competence, so you can then head on to online. It's tacked on
so they can put it on the books. I mean, that's what
it's for. And it's just
shove it in there, so it's and also I think it wouldn't work without it, honestly. Like at this point, I think
I think
you need
a
some
game
kind of single player element.
But again, it brings me around to that kind of argument of like, let's talk about what is the best game here, and it's just to feel like a tacked on mode that they did, which is a side bit to what is like the larger experience you get with Battlefield 1, is just not. I mean, you're still having to pay a £55 to play through that whole 4 to 5 hour experience, whereas obviously with mine and Paddy's, you're going to pay a £10 out for it and get your few hours and you're done. Whereas yours is not a short game; it's just a game with a short campaign. I don't know if that's a good thing. Surely, if you're paying £55, you should be getting a good 15 hours or so, right?
Yeah, you would think so, but I mean, you could say that's symptomatic of pretty much most of the AAA titles that come out, FPS in particular. Where the money making is in your favorite thing in the whole wide world, loot boxes and microtransactions.
All in the microtransactions. You can't put microtransactions into a single player portion, so people don't bother with it. It's a really, like I said, the Battlefield 1, and I think I could see Paddy's in the same field with me. It's a really hard one to knock, because I totally agree. It's a game. It's a game that needed to be done, and I think they did it in a really smart way. I think they could have done it wrong really easily, but when it comes to like this is the best game that can be beaten in less than 5 hours. It's just like, when you look at a value for money, if you look at how the missions are, they're quite fun, but in all, they're relatively basic. Drive this tank, shoot that guy, head into this area, shoot a few more dudes.
When it comes like Far Cry.
Yeah, I was just going to say that
Far Cry
be applied to Far Cry.
That can't be applied to Far Cry, because Far Cry, you've got player choice, you've got player agency. You can
I can shoot that guy. I can shoot that guy.
You can take it.
Which guy will I shoot first?
You've got a choice of stealth. You've got a loads different range of weapons, from like archer bow to loads of things that explode. You can do like you can do it loud and bangy. You can do it quiet and sneaky. You can do it in whatever way that you want. You can play in a way that reflects yourself and your play style. Whereas very much with Battlefield 1, you go through the motions. You do this bit, and then you walk up to the line, and then you throw a few things, and then you get in the tank, and then you watch it go. And it's just, I suppose it's a personal choice, but I always like a bit of player agency when I'm playing stuff. I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna make you have your last points if you have any, and before we head towards the end. No, so I'm gonna. All right, I'll nudge it along with a stick and force you guys to make your final points.
Yeah.
Paddy, I'm gonna steal Rob's thing, and out of the two, which one would you play out of the other two?
I'll say Battlefield 1 because I haven't played it yet and I want to, and I've got it. I've got it, but I haven't played it yet. So yeah, that is...
John, same question to you.
Far Cry, most definitely.
Rob?
I'm gonna have to say Gone Home because I've played Battlefield 1 and I didn't finish it. Whereas Gone Home, I'd probably see it through.
I think this is the first time we've just had a full circle. Everyone said a different
circle
answer.
jerk, guys.
Yeah, nice circle jerk.
Circle jerk.
I'm going to call it there.
You're an emotional fucking cripple. Your soul is dog shit. Every single fucking thing about you is ugly.
Well,
now I know this has been said a lot, but this was actually probably one of the hardest ones I've thought about, and it's one of the few I've judged. But it's a very difficult one to actually call, because each of these games is so different in kind of the way it's played, and has so many merits and demerits. Like I had to kind of take off my debater cap and put on my judge cap and stop thinking about what negatives could be in the game and just let other people argue, because at the end of the day, you have to convince me what is best and what doesn't deserve. I'm probably going to have to rule out Paddy's as as the guy said, the walking simulator.
You can't shoot anything. There's no death or murder.
There's no guns, no explosions.
I get
Where
it, bro.
are the colours?
I get it.
laser dragons, Paddy. Come on.
It may have like an incredible story, but if I'm playing a game, I don't want to just listen to a story. I want to be doing something. I want to be able to control the story in some way. I want to be able to have a challenge instead of, I wonder which drawer I can look through. This drawer,
all of
drawer,
them.
that drawer. What drawer haven't I seen? It doesn't do anything for me. It's like it's just a story that has been spread out over far too long, where I can watch a movie and have the exact same level of story, but I don't have to do anything. I can sit back and eat popcorn. So then it goes down to Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon, and Battlefield 1. It's a tough one because I can use so many technicalities for Battlefield 1 and say that you could rush through the game and make it less than 5 hours. So does that take away the experience? But I play these games slowly anyway, so it took ages for me. And also because it's a massively online game as well. Do you really complete the game? The completing the game is like you have a full experience of everything. But so again, it could be in either camp of completed as just the single player, or completed is the entirety of like you've experienced the entire game and you've done everything there is to do. So I mean, and Far Cry, there's a lot of argument there to be said. Yeah, it's a fun game, but it can be quite dull. It can be like a bit samey. Yeah, there are flashing colors or laser dragons, flamethrowers. It's different.
You are selling this to me.
I will buy that game. I pitched.
Laser dragons, damn it.
It's a very, very tough one, and I probably have to give it to Battlefield 1 for the story. Because if it's to complete the game, I'm gonna have to rule out like the online aspects of it and any additives. So I'm just gonna go purely for the single player and the story, the immersiveness in the characters. Because a game where you almost swap your playable character quite often, because every like campaign bit you swap your character and you can still be involved. Yeah, most of them die. Spoilers. They're all dead by now anyway.
Yeah.
And like it's all. You get so involved in them and the other characters in such a short amount of time, and yeah, how they managed to make World War One almost like feel realistic, like, to a detached audience in a way is incredible. And yeah, I think that edges Far Cry 3 because just makes it more interactive, more special, and just more real. Yeah, well done, John. And that brings us to the end of our debate section. And so yeah, and the end of the show. Really, that's all. That's all we had. That's all she wrote.
I got nothing.
I got nothing left. I hope you enjoyed these shorter form podcasts. I mean, if you do enjoy them, do let us know down in the comments. Or if you prefer us having the longer sections, we like your feedback. It lets us know what to do because we don't like to think for ourselves. So tell us if you enjoy this or prefer us to go back to the old ones. Let us know. But we've been Twisted Bar Gaming. You can find our videos on youtube.com/TwistedBarGaming. A load more different content there. So just explore it, find what you like, and just stick with us. We're friendly. And you can find this podcast on iTunes if you're watching on YouTube and you want to listen to us on the go. Don't have to look at our faces. It's off-putting sometimes. And if you're on iTunes or any other podcast provider, you can go onto YouTube and watch our beautiful faces in action. Just like surprise reaction. Ah! Exactly. So yeah, I've been Alistair. I've been here with Rob, Paddy, and John. For this thrilling experience that they've all thoroughly enjoyed and can't wait to end. But thank you for watching, and yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.